single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
And how to handle relationships. And it goes for the girls too, right? It's just that it started out as giving men tips. And now I realize that we all need tips around the world, all us women. But anyway, I digress. I apologize. So now she, I think, grew in love with Cody because of the way he treated her. And that's what she thinks as well. Cody knows that as well. You know, Squiggly treated her animalistically. He wasn't very kind to her. You know, when his beer was getting low, he would look at her and say, "You don't see my beer getting low?" And if she had a glass of wine and, you know, she was like having dinner, he wouldn't reach over and pour her a glass of wine. Not at all. I've had, oh my gosh, I've had men here. My newest gentleman cooked for me and cut up my platano for me at the table for me like I was a baby. You know, pours water for me, wine for me, whatever I need. It's right there for me. And it's no different between the other two that I had dated either. Yes, there were issues there, different issues, but I'm talking about in the kindness of serving one another. It is such an affection that is, I can't even remark on it. You know, it's overwhelming. It's so touching and compassionate. And they do it with love. You know, so this guy wasn't doing that. And Bastido was used to that. And she loved doing it. And she knew that it just wasn't his culture, so she accepted it. But you know what? You take it on when it's not your culture. When someone treats you that well, you treat them that well back. You want to do that when you love them. I've learned so much of how to do that myself. I want to take care of people here. And so, yes, he should have wanted to take care of her roof. And, you know, likewise, treat her like a queen. And so that's what Cody did. But Cody just did it, just not even realizing, you know, the nights that they shared together. Of course, they ate dinner together. She cooked every night and they would eat together. And he would sit her down and serve her and her grandmother and her mother. He would dish up their plates. And there were times where he would barbecue and make sure they all ate well. There were times where, you know, he was working throughout the week that he was staying there. And he would go back during lunchtime and bring them all food because the Dominican Republic is a very special time for lunch. And he would tell Bastido, don't cook today. Relax with your mother and your grandmother. I'm going to bring something home. And he wouldn't bring them home just the average meal, like beans and rice and chicken and salad, which is really delicious. But he would bring them home different things. You know, chibo, which is like goat, and he would bring them home delicacy foods, things that were really, really delicious and things that he knew they loved. And it was so touching. And she remembered what love was, and she fell in love with him. And he also fell in love with her and her family ways and her grandmother and her mother, because he was not raised here in the Dominican Republic, but his people and his upbringing were very cultured still. Even though they lived in New York in the United States, they still were very cultured in their Dominican ways. So when he was here, he still is here. When he moved here, he was not looking for a foreigner. He was not looking for a foreigner wife to get with, and he was looking for a woman that was, very humble. Because remember, he had money. He has money. He wasn't looking for a woman to grow rich with, and he wanted to look for a woman to grow old with and die with. And so he also started to eventually think of Bastido after a few days. Excuse me, guys, I had to sneeze. So he started to think of Bastido after a few days of not being with her, weeks. So he started to go to their house during lunch in Santo Domingo, their private home, not the estate. And he enjoyed taking them food and everything. Eventually, he started to feel very close to the grandmother and the mother. And of course, Bastido was there. And he was surprised to see Bastido there. And he said to Bastido, how come you're here all the time now? Like, I'm coming to take care of your grandmother and your mother, but you're here all the time. You're never at the estate. And she said to him, I told him I need some time. We decided to take some time. And I spoke to him and I told him what I feel. And he said he's going to try to start changing. So he did. And he was trying to start changing. And he was doing good. And so she told him about the month. And 2 months passed. And the reason why 2 months passed is because Bastido gave him, Squiggly, a month. At the end of the month, she spoke to him and she said, listen, I'm still not ready to come back. You've had a few outbursts, a few breakouts, and a few times of being impatient. You're still not treating me the way I want to be treated. And I need another month. I just need time. And he was willing to do that for her. And at the same time, he also called his good old friend, Cody. And he said, Cody, can you check on her every day? Cody said, don't worry, I'm already doing that. Like on her mom and her grandmother. Like I was there the other day and, she told me what was going on. And he was like, yeah, he trusted Cody so much. Cody was not thinking about her sexually at this moment. Cody was attracted to her. She's a very beautiful woman, and he's very respectful, and he doesn't covet another man's wife or another man's girlfriend, nothing like that. It was innocent. And Bastido as well. Bastido was trying to gain her feelings back for Squiggly because she knew deep down inside, again, Squiggly was a good man and she wanted to see him change. His heart pressure was going up. A lot was going on with his health. So his blood pressure was high and his heart rate was high, everything. And so she decided that she was just going to try to go back to him. And that was that. So she said to her mom and to her grandmother that she's going to move back in with him. And not move back in with him, but move in with him for a couple of weeks straight. Not go back and forth, but just live with him straight to see if she can be with him for sure. And just desensitize herself. So she asked him what he thought about that, and he loved the idea. And he said, yes, come. I never want you to leave. I'm sorry I ever asked for space before. Just come and stay. So she said, okay. And she went, and they were getting along so well. The first night, he was such a sweetheart. And she was like, wow, okay, it was the sweetest he ever was, she said to me. And she could see that he was really trying, and that made her feel so good inside. And then she said, he planned a big party for her, and he wanted everyone to see that he was a changed man. So he invited over all his guy friends, invited everyone, her grandmother, her mother, her cousins, everyone, and he wanted to get to know everyone. He was putting in a big effort, and she loved it. She was so happy. She said to me that night she was giggling, she was joking with people. A part of her came out of her that she didn't even know existed because he was joking around, and he was like, tapping her on her butt in front of people, and he was treating her like a lady, but she thought it was funny because he wasn't being overprotective, he wasn't being mean, he wasn't, and then she was like just laughing, and she said she went into the kitchen, and as she was in the kitchen, she was just, smiling to herself, really thinking, wow, she played her cards right. She changed this man big time. Well, he walked into the kitchen after her, and he had a different look on his face. She said it was like an evil monster. Diablo, they call it here, the devil, Diablo. There's another. Let's wait for that truck to go by. It's funny that the truck went by like that because I almost forgot. She said she felt like she was hit by a truck. So Diablo, that's another palabra for you. Palabra, remember that means word. And Diablo is devil. So she said he was like the devil. She felt like she was hit by a truck, and he didn't hit her, he didn't touch her, but he just like rolled into the room, into the kitchen, and she was just getting treats and sweets for everyone, they were having a barbecue, and like a party barbecue. And he said to her, why are you flirting with everyone? And she was like, what? And he says, you're joking with this person, joking with that person. I see you hugging everyone. What are you doing? How many men did you sleep with here? Are all those guys your past clients? Did you know my friends before I introduced them to you? What about the guy that's here? That's not your cousin. How come I never met him before? Blah, blah, blah. And he was going on, and he was calling her all kinds of names. And he said, when I met you, you were on the streets. I didn't even know. And I trusted you. And now look, I start to trust you again. And this is what you do. And Cody happened to walk into the kitchen and overhear it. And Vestibo looked up, but quickly looked down. She didn't want Squiggly to know that Cody walked in the kitchen, but she did want Cody to hear everything. The reason why she wanted Cody to hear everything was because she wanted someone to know if Squiggly was right. She wanted someone to know, she wanted someone to put her in her place, criticize her, tell her she's wrong for feeling bad, tell her she's wrong. She just wanted someone, another man, to say, it's nothing, Vestido. It's nothing. Just Vestido, just, it's okay. Deal with it. And that's not what happened. Cody couldn't listen to it any longer. And Cody did interrupt. And he said, please, please, don't do this. This woman has become like a sister. I respect her more than I respect any other woman I know. Please don't do this to her. And he said, I should not be interrupting in couples' affairs. And I don't know why I am. And I don't know how often this happens. But I do know that this has to stop now. This can't go on any longer. Vestido cried. And she didn't know what to do. She said to me, Cerise, all I could say was, it's over. Because that's what she needed. She needed confirmation that she was not wrong. She needed confirmation that she was not taking it overboard. She needed confirmation to be allowed to leave him and not be a fool and not put money first. She knew that, okay, you know what, if she has to go be a working girl again, then hey, she's willing to do it, because you know what, she was making enough money to survive and not be spoken to in that way. And she thought to herself, if she met him, she could meet someone else like him. And still at this point, she wasn't thinking that Cody would want her. And Cody at this point was thinking that too. She wouldn't want him because, of course, he believed what Squiggly had said in the beginning, when Squiggly had said she would only want a white rich man. So Squiggly was standing there, and Squiggly looked at Cody and said, don't do this, man. Don't do this. You're so wrong right now. And Cody told me those words burned through him. And he felt like just sucker punching Squiggly. He felt like grabbing him and just squeezing him by the neck. But he was in the home of Squiggly, and he was also in the relationship of Squiggly, and he also was feeling bad because he didn't want to make things bad or worse for Vestido. And oh my gosh, all he could do, he said he cried. He said he cried. He just stood there and tears came to his eyes, and he said, I'm sorry to do this, but I don't care if you and I are never friends again. You're an animal. You're treating a very good soul, a very good woman like dirt. Who do you think you are? If I wasn't a gentleman, I would sucker punch you right now. And Squiggly was like, oh, come on, man. Come on. You got to get out. You got to leave now. And Cody said, absolutely. So his car keys and his sunglasses were out on the deck, and he rolled out on the deck, and he went to get his glasses, and he got his keys, and the guy said to him in his cell phone, and the guys were saying, where you going, man? Where you going? And he said, I don't stick around here. Why don't you ask Squiggly what's going on? And when he was leaving, Vestido went out on the front property, on the front patio there, the back patio, and she turned off the music. And she announced that she was leaving. She announced in front of everybody that she was leaving. And it was nice to know everyone. And maybe she will see them sometime. And they were like, what? Like all his friends. And then she looked at her family. And she told everyone, we are leaving now. And that was it. They left. They decided that they were going to Sorry about that. I had to put it on pause for a second. So they left and they decided that they were going to take the party over to their own place, leave the estate, and they all went to their own place in Santo Domingo as well. So they're there. Cody followed Bastido. He helped everyone get there, and they all had their own vehicles, and she told me there was about 7 of her family members. So that's 2 cars right there, and they all took off and they went to the house. That night, Cody was in the house, and it was a beautiful house. That night, Cody was in the house with Bastido, and he never, ever left. He decided, and he had his own big house too, but he decided to rent out his big house as an Airbnb, and he stayed with Bastido, and he started to pay the rent there. They still were not romantic or sexual in any way at all. Bastido started to feel like she made the wrong choice, because now she was living off Cody, and she was feeling like, oh my gosh, they're not even romantic. He feels obligated to take care of her. She didn't realize that he was like romantically attracted to her, because they were both so respectful of each other. Anyway, she decides that she's going to call Squiggly back, because she really didn't want to go back on the streets, and she thought it's not so bad being with Squiggly. So she called Squiggly back. When she called Squiggly back, he wanted her back big time. He cried for her to move into the estate with him. The Villa estate. He cried, and she did. And she felt more comfortable that way, because she didn't feel like she was fighting her sexual tension every day being around Cody. When Cody found out she was moving back in with Squiggly, his heart was broken. He couldn't believe it. He thought for sure that they would never get back together. Well, one day he was at his office, and Squiggly contacted him. And Squiggly said, I'm sorry about everything. I miss you. I miss our friendship, type of thing. Can we meet up for a drink and chit chat? I have a good project for you. And they meet up. And it was not a real estate project. It was a personal project. He wanted to test Bastido. He wanted to see if Bastido would fall for Cody. He said, Cody, I think Bastido is in love with you. Cody's like, no. Now, the funny thing is, Squiggly knew at this point the two were not intimate. He knew in his heart that his friend was a true blue friend. He didn't trust Bastido, but he knew that his friend would not do anything. And at the same time, he also didn't know that Cody was at Bastido's house living full time. He didn't know this, but it all happened so quickly anyway, so how would he even assume it? And they were never together on the streets, and no one would even know anything. And he wasn't the type of guy that would go by the house. Squiggly would never go by the house to spy on her. Ironically enough, I asked, like, did he spy on you or anything? Because, I sensed that he's the type of guy that would do that. And she said, no, he didn't do that, but he spied on her in other ways. When she would go to the grocery store, and he would see her in the streets, and he would see her often, but never, or at her friend's house, but never at her place. So anyway, I guess in a roundabout way, he trusted that she would never take men home with her grandmother and her mother living there. So anyway, he asked Cody to come on to Bastido intimately. Try to get her aroused. Try to see if she will be attracted to him. And he said, just do it for me, buddy. I'll pay you to do it. I just need to know if she's loyal to me or if she's attracted to you. If she's attracted to you, that's fine. She can be with you, whatever. But I just feel like she is falling in love. She's fallen in love with you, and she just doesn't know it, or you just don't know it, or whatever. But I need you to help me out. And he agreed to it. Cody agreed to it. And the reason why was because it would give him a chance to figure it out as well. Yes. So he agreed to it. And he said to him, but not for money. He said just for friendship. He said, for friendship, I'll do this for you, buddy. And then he decided that he was going to invite Vestido out for lunch one day. So he did. He called her up and he told her he was going to invite her out for lunch. And they went out for lunch together. And as they did, he told her, that he touched her face and he told her that she was beautiful. And she said that he was handsome. And he told her, you know what? I love you. And I wasn't supposed to say I love you. I was supposed to come on to you romantically, but I love you. And he just told her straight out. And he said, this date was a setup, but it's turned into a real date for me. And I needed this, and I did it purposely so I could be alone with you. I needed something to give me the boost. And I want to tell you that I didn't go along with it. And if you want, you could tell Squiggly what I've done. I failed him as a friend, and I think I'm failing you as a friend right now. But I need to tell you what's on my heart. I love you. And she cried, and she told him that she loved him too. And they both went back to the estate, and they both took whatever stuff she had there. And Squiggly was not there. She left the keys to the estate, everything, the front gate key, everything, and any jewelry that he gave her that she had, she left everything right there. And she left, and he knew that she loved her jewelry and she would never leave it, Squiggly, but she did, and that was because she knew she has a new husband pretty much, and Cody, and he's the cat's meow, and he's very handsome, very sexy, very smart, very wealthy, very dedicated, very loyal, very cultured, very well raised, and she thought, leave all that stuff in the past. So she took like whatever belongings that were meaningful to her there, like her favorite brush that her grandmother gave her and she used. It's an old-fashioned brush, but it's very beautiful and still works very well, and the bristles never come out, and she loves that because it keeps her hair from getting split ends, little things like that, very detailed things. And that's all she really took. And she went back home and she never spoke to Squiggly again. She changed her phone number, and Squiggly tried to knock on her door once, and that was it. But Squiggly tried to appeal to her. When he knocked on her door, Cody answered the door, and he knew. He looked at Cody and said, all right. And Cody also didn't answer any of his calls. They didn't have any more business together anyway, no more projects, because that all fizzled out once they had broke up friendships in the first place. And so Squiggly just looked at Cody and was like, okay, all right. And Cody closed the door, didn't have to say a thing. And that was it. The two of them decided that they were going to contact me and give me the bottom line and the backdrop. And that's pretty much it. Two of them are still together. They love each other very much. They don't have any children. They're not sure if they want children. They're just good living the way they are right now. The grandmother is very sick. They want prayers from all you guys. And Besito also said she wants to say to you guys that have working girls. She says, particularly the American men. She says a lot of you guys are coming here to fall in love. And she loves this because a lot of the women here are good women. A lot of them, they need help, and a lot of you men are helping. Unlike Squiggly. Squiggly did not help at all. And she says not only you American men, but you men all around the world, you send money and you guys do trust your women. You pay rent for them to live well. You pay for their grandmothers and their mothers and their grandfathers and their uncles and their aunts to eat and also to get medicine. And she says, but just watch your heart and be careful. She says, please don't hate when a woman does you wrong. Please just be smart. It's the same around the world. Now, you're living a long-distance relationship. She says she has had a few long-distance relationships when she was a working girl. And they were very difficult for her because she did not like asking for money. And the men did not have a lot of money to burn to just keep sending it, especially if they were paying her rent, especially if they were helping her out. So she had to have a few men. in order to survive if she didn't want to be a working girl. So she had to have a few boyfriends in order to get money from, but she always had one favorite one. And she says she's sorry for that. She's very sorry for that, but it's not her mentality, it was her necessity. And now she's very loyal to Cody, her one man, and she was very loyal to Squiggly as well. Not in the beginning, but afterwards when she was getting a little bit more. And she said she even agrees that $2,000 a month was a lot. She saved a lot of that money, and now she's looking to go into business. She wants to do something in business. She has no clue what she wants to do, but she's very good at arts and crafts with the natural plants here and the natural seeds. So she wants to start maybe being an artist, but she laughs at herself when she calls herself an artist. And I don't laugh at her. I said to her, no way. Like, the beautiful pictures that she sent on WhatsApp of her images of everything are gorgeous, with mango leaves and avocado leaves. And then, avocado, she paints with avocado and stuff, but she refuses to sell any of it right now. And she refuses to do it on a one-to-one basis. So she wants to be distributed around the world. So that's something that's going to be a project that she's going to take on with Cody. And yes, they're very excited about their relationship and very excited about life. So let's wish the two of them very well. And, hey, let's just really live our lives the way they have. Be free and don't take any bull from anyone. Don't be treated wrongly. And make sure you love yourself first. If you are questioning your relationship right now and you are questioning how you're being treated, then maybe you should question why you're in it. And also have some dignity and perhaps do what Vestido did and take some time out for yourself. Now, with that being said, I do know that a lot of you men, especially with people that I find apartments for, a lot of you men are looking for apartments for your girlfriends here. And I love that. I love it because, you know what? You have a place when you come here as well. You don't have to pay the high prices of hotels and all resorts and stuff. And you come and you have a place to stay. It's your apartment. So I have been finding a lot of cheap apartments. Not cheap, sorry, let me use the word inexpensive. I was told the other day, I usually do use inexpensive, but I was told the other day from an associate that I do apartments with. He said to me, Cerise, sometimes you use the word cheap. Don't use cheap, because really these places are economical. And so they're inexpensive. And he's right, 100%. I love, constructive criticism. So yes, economical places I can help find for you guys, so you can, save on the bottom line. I know a gentleman right now who's paying $1,200 in the Dominican Republic, not here, in the Dominican Republic, and he's paying $1,200 a month for rent, fully furnished, and it's a beautiful place. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but whoa. It's way overpriced. And I look at that and I think to myself, he's also paying rent in America. And he also has children in America that he's paying child support for. So he works only so he can pay bills. And really the only time he lives is when he comes here. And he's only here every 3 months for 7 days. Now that's a lot. That's a good vacation, right? Every 3 months for 7 days. Some of you are probably like, well, that's a lot. Well, yes, it is. That's why he needs a place here, but he's paying $1,200 for it. And no, keep that. Spend, and it's an apartment, right? No, I think he needs to cut down a lot, relocate in the Dominican Republic if he has to, get something cheaper, and there we go with the cheaper again, get something less expensive, and then, save that money and invest it in building, invest it in businesses, invest it in something else here, maybe an Airbnb. Oh my gosh, there's so much to do. I have a lot of investors contacting me from around the world right now. And I love it. I love it because they're very honest, they're very upfront, they're very open. They let me know exactly what's going on, how much they want to invest, what their past is with investment, what they're looking for. They're sending me through my email, they're sending me proposals and contracts, and this is great. This is a wonderful thing. I still have to sift through a lot, but I will. And so there's a lot of people coming here to invest and do things with. So a lot of you guys that are spending high rent, you should think about maybe cutting it down a little bit, exploring your options, and saving your money and reinvesting it in this country. All into this country, and you can do that. And within a couple of years, save with the economy the way it is right now, while it's a developing country, you can do a lot more in the end. So let's think more about that. All right, guys, this turned into a whole other thing, but that's the story time for today. I'm looking forward to the comments, and I'm also looking forward to Vestido and Cody's relationship blooming more and more and more. All righty, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Cerise, and you guys can check me out. I'm a writer and also a soul coach. You can find me at cerisefairfax.com. It'll explain to you exactly what a soul coach is. And you can also find other stories that I've written at www.story-time-again.blogspot.com. Okay, guys, we'll talk soon. Thank you so much for subscribing. When you do subscribe, make sure you hit that bell button so you'll know when I upload a video. I upload videos on a lot of different things. Story time, living here in the Dominican Republic, personal stories about people and how they survive here, cost of living, real estate, and you name it, I'll do it. If you have an idea for a video, let me know and I will hop to it. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Big blesses. Remember, my number is 829-702-7726 when you need to get a hold of me. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.
Every single day